Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Yul Adinda Sari from PBI 3. In this video, I would like to talk about my answer for the questions curriculum and development subjects tags. In this tags, there are three questions, namely, for the first questions, the difference between curriculum and syllabus is based on the theory. After using theory, use your own words. For the second questions is explain knowledge of two stages in external curriculum theory from Brown and Richard. For the third questions is differentiate the process of external and internal curriculum development stages described by Richard Brown and the PBI model and provide conclusions. Answer for the first questions. My answer for the first question is White 1988 is of the opinion that twin curriculum and syllabus are frequently used interchangeably in the US, but in the traditional context, syllabus commonly refers to the content or the subject matter of an individual subject, whereas curriculum usually refers to the totality of content to be taught within a school or educational system. Based on the theory about the difference between the curriculum and the syllabus, conclude that the difference lies in the focal point and scope. That is, the curriculum is more general in nature while the syllabus is specific. According to my understanding, the syllabus is a summary of topics that are planned to be discussed within an educational scope and provide information about a subject or a course that will be studied in the learning process. Then, in the syllabus, it contains about what material will be discussed in a subject, then how to teach strategies for a subject. The syllabus also contains a lesson schedule, exam schedule, and a standard course that must be achieved by students in order to pass the related subjects. Meanwhile, according to my understanding, the curriculum is a series of programs that exist within the scope of educational system, within the scope of school and university education that are general in nature or have a broad range of contents. The curriculum provides information about all subjects or course that will be taken. The curriculum contains the types of subjects that are within the scope of school level education and also the types of fields of study taught at the university level. The curriculum is prescriptive, which is guide that is followed by the institution during a learning process, so it can be concluded that the syllabus is part of the curriculum and vice versa. For the second questions, my answer for the second question is on the stage put forward by Brown, I can conclude 1. Needs analysis methods. Needs analysis as defined by Brown is the systematic collection and analysis of all subjective and objective information necessary to define and validate defensible curriculum objective that meet students' language learning requirements in their context. So, I can conclude that the purpose of analyzing students' needs is to be able to find out what students need, students who have different characteristics and cognitive difference in order to achieve an effective learning process. 2. Methods objective. Expectation of students' language output. The purpose of this stage is to know the abilities that have been mastered by the students. Then you can determine what material is in accordance with the abilities of students. 3. The testing method is implemented like giving a pre-test section and post-test to students. The purpose of this stage is to measure the ability of students who, of course, have different abilities. 4. Material, where the process of providing material or the stage where the teaching and learning process take place and to determine the achievement of learning objective. 5. Learning evaluation is a process to obtain the data and information needed to determine the extent and how the learning has been carried out in order to make judgment and improvements needed to maximize the result. Based on Richard's steps, I can conclude 1. Definition of needs analysis. The term needs analysis generally refers to the activities involved in gathering information that will form the basis for achieving a specific curriculum. Needs analysis aims to find out what students need so that learning effectiveness can be achieved. 2. Situation analysis is to analyze the student's internal and external environment as a first step before developing the curriculum, and at this stage, the educators also observe the learning process that involves students' background, experience, expertise, and teacher experience. 3. Planning learning outcomes. Learning outcomes are statements that describe the knowledge or skill acquired by students at the end of the learning process. The stage aims so that educators can understand the extent of their success in carrying out the learning process, and so that students can find out the extent of their understanding. 4. Course organization. Administrative tasks that are part of the educational process. These tasks include students' information, group work, organization, scheduling activities, and submitting assessment for assessment. 5. Selecting and preparing of teaching materials. Selection of teaching materials should be delegated to licensed instructional staff under the supervision of administrative staff. The responsibility for coordinating the selection of this material will rest with the curriculum committee. The main criteria for selecting teaching material or learning material must be adhered to competency standard and basic competency. This means that the learning material chosen to be taught by educators to the students should contain material or teaching material that really support the achievement of competency standard and basic competencies. One of the criteria in selecting teaching material is that teaching material should be designed to motivate students and behavior and to understand their own duties, responsibilities, rights, and privileges as citizens, and should be encourage students to use high-order thinking skill. 6. Providing of effective teaching. Effective teaching can be defined in many ways, including teacher behavior, teacher knowledge, teacher beliefs, and so on. Here we define effective teaching as the ability to improve students' achievement as research shows. 7. Learning evaluation is a process to obtain the data and information needed to determine and extend how the learning has been carried out in order to make judgment and improvement needed to maximize the research. I will answer for the last questions is Rowan only uses needs analysis to analyze what is needed by students who have different characteristics, while Richard, in addition to needs analysis, also uses situation analysis, where this situation analysis aims so that the curriculum can adapt the material to the situation that occur as well as the environment in which the learning process takes place. Then, the development of Yaka's internal PDR theory curriculum. Based on this theory, there are several stages carried out in order to achieve a curriculum goal, namely 1. Make decision. At the stage of making this decision, namely making a decision to seek information about the characteristics of students and information about what is needed in terms of achieving effective learning. 2. Get information. After the information is completed, determine the teaching material according to the needs of students. 3. Implementation is the application of all teaching strategies that have been well prepared. And then evaluation. Evaluation is the stage carried out to try to improve what needs to be improved so that the curriculum objective, namely the creation of an effective learning process, can be carried out. I think that's all from me. I am Yul Adinda Sari. Thank you so much for everything. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.